Let's perform next steps and set up few things on Snowflake as well. The first step is to create a table. This would be an empty table by name of healthcare underscore CSV, and it will contain the whole schema of the table for the respective columns that we are loading from the healthcare pipe file. So this is the health underscore pipe file which is loaded on Azure Data Lake, and this file is pipe separated. So let's go to Snowflake again, and here we will create this table. So this healthcare underscore CSV table is now created under public schema. Let me refresh. Under DemoDB public, we have this healthcare schema. However, there are no rows in this table as of now. The next step is to create an integration object for the external stage. This will make a connection between Snowflake and the Azure account from which you have to take the data. Here we have to enter few parameters such as Azure tenant ID. To get this ID, we will go to Azure, go to Home, and click on Azure Active Directory. If it is not being displayed here, just search here Azure Active Directory, open it, and from here you will get your tenant ID. Just copy this and go to Snowflake, paste it here. Then this parameter is important because here you will specify which storage locations you want to allow from which Snowflake can take the data. So we created two containers previously. Open the storage account, containers. So we have two containers as of now. I'm giving access to Snowflake to fetch the data from both of these containers. Let's suppose this container has multiple directories in it, maybe by the year 2021, and this year will contain multiple folders in it. So it will have the complete access of this container, which is Snowflake-demo, and also the other container, which is Snowflake-demo-parquet. So let's go to Snowflake, and this is the syntax that you have to follow. First would be the static text, which will be Azure : // and then you have to provide the storage account name, which can be fetched from here under storage accounts, and this is the storage account that I'm using. And then you have to specify the container name at the end. So this will be also the same text that you have to use. Then after slash you will use the container name to which you want to provide the access. And here I want to provide the access to two containers. So one is the Snowflake demo and second one is the Snowflake demo parquet. So each of the containers will be separated by a comma, and they should be enclosed within the single quotes. So as soon as we enter all these parameters, we can just run this command. Okay, I got some errors, so let me see. Okay, I missed a semicolon. So let's retry. So I will change my role to account admin. And yeah, we can create it now. So now integration Azure underscore int has been successfully created. The next step is to describe this integration object. To do that, we will run desk storage integration and the integration object name, which we just created. Run this and you will get 7 rows. The important parameters for us would be Azure consent URL. So just open this, copy, and go to your browser and paste it here. This will open up a portal where it will ask you for the permissions. You have to give the consent on behalf of your organization so that Snowflake can access the respective containers or the storage account to which you are providing the access. So I will click on accept now, and it is authorizing Snowflake to access the data or the storage accounts that we defined in the integration object. So yes, it is done now, as we can see the screen. Now we can go back to Snowflake. This step is done. The next step would be to note this Azure multi-tenant app name. We will go to Snowflake now. We will go to Azure now, and we'll click on Access Control IAM. We will click on Role Assignments. And here we don't have any role assignment as of now. Click on add role assignment, and here we will select the role of storage blob data contributor, and then select the assignee, which would be user, group, or service principal, and then we have to select the Snowflake name. Just search for Snowflake, and it is reflecting here Snowflake PAC int 1661. Let's go to Snowflake, and indeed it is same, which is description of the integration object. Now I will authorize this, click on this and save. So it is adding the role assignment to my storage account. It has been added now, so we can refresh. And yes, we can see that this is the blob data contributor for this resource. The next step would be to go back to containers and verify the data is there. And now go to Snowflake. We will create a file format now. For that, we will write create or replace file format, and then the location where you want to create the file format. Type would be CSV, since we are loading the CSV data as of now, and the field delimiter would be a pipe, since the file that we are using is pipe separated. Then we will do the skip header equals to 1, since our first row is the column names. Let's run this, and file format, my CSV format, is successfully created. The second last step is to create a stage object to let Snowflake know from where you have to pick the files. So this will specify from where we want to pick up the files from Azure account. So to create a stage, we will write create or replace stage and the location you want to create this stage, and storage integration would be the same integration object that we created, which is Azure underscore integration int. We will specify a URL from which I have to pick up the files. So I will copy this and paste it here. And here I have two files, so I will just route to this file only, since it is pipe separated. And this is done. And I'm using the file format that I just created, which is pipe separated. Run this command, and stage area my Azure stage successfully created. Okay, now coming to the final step, we want to load the data from the stage object to Snowflake table, which is healthcare underscore CSV. But if you want to take a look at the data before even loading the data to table, you can directly run this select statement from this stage object. Just write select star from this stage object. Run this. Okay, the error says that there is no columns to select. Here the error says there is no column to select. Because we have used a star, to fetch any data directly from the stage, we have to use the dollar and the position of the columns. Suppose I am using $1 and run it, and we are getting the data for the first column on the file. If we check the file, on the first column we have the average cover charges, and the first value is 89620, which is matching the first value. Similarly, if you want to use for the fifth column, you can run it and you will get the value of the fifth column. You can use any column position and fetch the value directly from the stage. The next thing is to load the data into the table. The next step is to load the data directly into the table. To do that, we will use the copy command to load the data into the healthcare underscore CSV table from this stage. Run it, and we can see that the row parse are 75 and the rows loaded are also 75, and there are no errors while processing. And to check the location, we can just expand it, and we can see the location that it is loaded from the healthcare underscore pipe.csv from the respective container. Now let's take a look at the data. Refresh here, and we can see that there are 75 rows in the table, and this is the data. that we can see here. Okay. And just for your knowledge, we can also directly apply conditions and the joins even if you are fetching the data directly from the stage area of Snowflake. Suppose I am fetching here two columns and I am putting a condition where the first column value is less than 30,000. So just run it, and now we are just getting 56 rows. And in the original table, if I run the upper query, we have total 75 rows. So the filtration and the joins are also applicable when you want to fetch the data directly from the stage area of Snowflake. Hope this information was helpful to you. Let's proceed in the next lecture to load the data